So as much as I love Tears of the Kingdom, I'm on record saying that I have some issues with this game's story. Some of them are just minor nitpicks, while others are pretty big details that legitimately broke some of this game's immersion for me. But when it comes to opportunities that this game missed, I don't think there's a better example than Ganondorf's relationship with the Gerudo. Ganondorf being the leader of the Gerudo has been an established part of the Zelda lore ever since Ocarina of Time, but it's never been that deeply explored. Sure, the Gerudo in Ocarina of Time talk about Ganondorf, and throughout the different games we hear him talk about them, but we've never actually seen him interact with the Gerudo or understand his dynamic with the wider Gerudo population. This may not seem like too much of an issue, but because of this, I've met people who completely forget that Ganondorf is supposed to be a Gerudo, and just think he's this evil wizard who appeared in Hyrule one day. I've always thought that this was a part of Ganondorf's character that's gone unfairly overlooked, as we're not only missing out on an interesting story of the only man who lives in a tribe full of women, but we also miss out on seeing the Gerudo having to overcome the legacy of their evil leader, which could be an even more interesting story. I hoped these problems would be amended in Tears of the Kingdom, and was relieved to see that despite these games seemingly taking place in their own continuity, the detail of Ganondorf being the leader of the Gerudo wasn't changed. And in the game's first memory with him in it, we actually see him alongside the Gerudo, already a step up from the previous games, so I wonder where this dynamic will go. Nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere. We see him alongside the Gerudo in one more memory without saying a word to them, and then never again. We don't even get any insight into their relationship throughout the Gerudo's mission of the game. There's just one extra sentence in Nameless Masked Figure number 4's speech, and none of the Gerudo seem even remotely troubled with the fact that this whole ordeal was caused by their former leader. There's also this quote in one of the memories that pisses me off.
We just received word that the last free village in the Gerudo Desert has fallen.
What do you mean the Gerudo Desert fell? Ganondorf already controlled the Gerudo Desert, so what even is there to fall? And I guess the whole Gerudo population decided to turn against him? Why? They had no problem going along with his Hyrule conquering plans before this, but now when he finally does obtain the power to conquer Hyrule, they suddenly get cold feet? My god, so many plot points are ruined by this line that didn't even need to be there. So yeah, this part of the game is missed opportunity after missed opportunity, and I will gladly rewrite it, as this is an itch that I've wanted to scratch for a long time now. I want to make this a story that focuses not only on Ganondorf, but the Gerudo population as a whole and how they can overcome the tarnished legacy of their former leader. It wasn't easy, but I think I cracked a version of this story that accomplishes these things while staying true to the themes of the game. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that has to be changed for my version of this story to work is to have the Gerudo mission take place last, replacing Minoru's quest chain after Link has defeated Phantom Ganon. This needs to happen as it would undoubtedly be the most personal and in-depth of the game's main missions, so it needs to seem as if everything has been building to this moment. There's another reason why Minoru won't work in this version of the story, which I'll explain later, but if you saw and remember my first video on this subject, you probably know why. So similar to the main game, in this version of the story, Gerudo Desert is engulfed in a catastrophic sandstorm, making the land nearly impossible to navigate. However, this time, the sandstorm is so bad that Gerudo Town won't be accessible until the other 4 sages have been awakened. Instead of Minoru, maybe the 4th one could be Hestu as the new Sage of Forest, or Paya as the new Sage of Shadow. It doesn't matter a ton, so pick whichever one of those you'd prefer. Once this has happened, Link goes to Hyrule Castle to take on Phantom Ganon as normal, but this time, there's something a bit different. There are Gerudo patrolling the castle, dressed in more Ganondorf-like colors like black and purple. This leaves Link very confused, but he presses on regardless and doesn't hold back when he sees that these Gerudo don't come in peace. The Phantom Ganon fight proceeds as usual, with Ganondorf showing Link and the sage's memories of his previous plight across Hyrule. But this time, in addition to monsters, Ganondorf in this memory is also being swarmed by Gerudo, who follow him as he cries out to leave no survivors. The memory fades, leaving Link and the sages not just horrified, but also confused as to what the Gerudo were doing with Ganondorf. Surely he modified the memory, right? After they return to Lookout Landing, Purah is also confused by what the sages tell her and suggests to Link that he check in on the Gerudo, hoping not only that they'll lend their strength to their cause, but also to clear up the strange details that have been presented to them. Link arrives in Gerudo Town in pretty much the same way as the game, with the Gerudo hiding away in their underground bunker. Link sneaks in and observes the Gerudo people suffering. Some of them are huddling in corners, fighting for scraps of food, or gathered around small campfires for warmth. Upon learning that Riju is out training, Link goes back out and finds her at the North Ruins. But this time, as Link finds her training with her lightning powers, she seems a lot more frustrated, with her yelling out angry cries even when she hits her mark. Upon seeing Link, however, she breaks out of her angry trance and addresses him in the same way as the game. When Link asks her about what he's seen, however, her dark expression returns, saying that she'll tell him more once they get back to Gerudo Town. Upon arriving, Riju takes a seat on her throne and ponders where to begin. Suddenly, a dark cloud billows through the room, with Riju muttering, "No, not again." Then, much like in Hyrule Castle, the image of Ganondorf appears, his eyes drifting over the room and eventually settling on Link. "It appears we have a guest. Welcome, hero, to my home. Though it's unfortunate you had to see it in such a state. The most powerful warriors in Hyrule, hiding in a hole and scavenging for scraps. They've been reduced to living like rats, all with a leader willing to sacrifice them for her pride." Boliara raises her sword. "How dare you! Lady Riju is 10 times the leader you'll ever be. Leave now, monster!" "You remain as stubborn as ever, blinded by loyalty to this child. How about we ask her? Riju, was it? Are you willing to cease the pointless suffering of your people and return the Gerudo to their former glory?" Riju growls in response. "I would rather die than join you." "So you say. But let me teach the first of many lessons I have planned for you. You can be a spineless coward or the mightiest warrior in the world. But know this. Everyone has a breaking point." And with that, the image dissipates, and Riju slumps in her throne before turning to Link. "I'm assuming you have questions after seeing that." Link nods. "Directly after the upheaval was the first time it happened. I had begun practicing with my lightning, and that thing came to me. He said he was the rightful ruler of the Gerudo, and that he came to offer me a place at his side. I obviously refused, but then he summoned one of his puppets, and I came up short. He could have finished me off, but instead, he said that a lesson had to be learned. And that's when the sandstorm started. We've been stowed away in this hole ever since." Confused, Link asks what the Demon King hopes to gain, and it's at this point when a Gerudo soldier runs into the room and kneels before Riju. "Lady Riju, I have something to say." Riju sits up slightly. Speak, soldier. The unnamed Gerudo looks up with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry. Riju cries out for her to stop, but it's too late. The warrior looks to the sky and shouts, I pledge my allegiance to Demon King Ganondorf! A black cloud envelops her, and when it clears, her clothes have been changed to the colors that Link saw at Hyrule Castle. Link is in disbelief, but Boliara's face contorts in anger. Traitor! My blade will be the last thing you ever see! She charges at her former companion, but the newly turned Gerudo is warped away before the sword can collide, and Boliara roars in fury. Riju, however, just looks exhausted. There goes another one. Curious, Link asks if this has happened before, and Riju sadly nods. The Demon King's goal isn't to kill us, but to wait us out. The longer we stay in this sandstorm, food, water, and medicine get scarcer and scarcer. Nearly a third of the tribe has already joined the Demon King just to have the pain stop. Cowards, the lot of them. They tarnish the very name of the Gerudo. Don't blame them, Boliara. Anyone else would have folded immediately. And besides, the Demon King wasn't wrong. It's only a matter of time before we end up like them. Forgive me, Lady Riju, but that's a lie. I will stay by your side even if it kills me. And for what? So you can die in a hole without anyone knowing? It pains me to say this, but the Demon King is right. Nothing will be accomplished if we stay here. Riju's gaze then shifts to Link. But maybe we can do something about it. Wow, so this went on a lot longer than I thought. This was initially going to be one video, but given how long the script already is, it looks like I'll have to split it up. So what do you think? Does this plot seem promising? My ultimate goal with this story is to create something that's new while also aligning with the game's themes, and with what I have planned, I think I managed to crack it. I hope you've enjoyed what I've put out so far, and that you'll bear with me until I can wrap this up. I'm already working on part 2, so look forward to that. So until next time, peace out.